And it reads, Chairman Jordan, I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation on online platforms. As you are aware, Meta has produced thousands of documents as part of your investigation and made a dozen employees available for transcribed interviews. Further to our cooperation with your investigation, I welcome the opportunity to share what I've taken away from this process. There's a lot of talk right now around how the US government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our position. Our platforms are for everyone. We're about promoting speech and helping people connect in a safe and secure way. As part of this, we regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns around public discourse and public safety. In 2021, this is where things get a little bit interesting. In 2021, our senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Okay, so there is the first clue that what's going on here is not good. It's not good. And the fact I am not really sure what has possessed him to do stuff, because this is very kind of random behavior. If you ask me. It's not really happen the way it has. So I'm just a little bit curious about it, to be honest. But it continues. So once again, I'm going to read that line for you because that is the most important line. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. So, unquote. The government, the federal government, the Biden administration more specifically, whose vice president is running for the presidency of the United States right now, was telling the government, or telling Meta, Facebook, that they were unhappy with what was on the social network. This is government censorship. There's no other way to see this. We hear all the time how, well, Facebook has a right to moderate, to censor what it wants. They are their own company, and they have the right, just like any other company does, to moderate their content. And I mean, that is partially true, but they have more of an argument if they're talking about a private company doing it, as opposed to what we have here, which is far, far different. Here we have the government coming in and saying, we want you to censor online information. So I don't need to tell you that this is horrific. The letter continues. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take content down, and we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make today. Like I said to our teams at the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction. And we're ready to push back if something like this happens again. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. This is where it gets even better. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, we saw a New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family. We sent that story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation. And in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. Well, thank you, Zuckerberg, for confirming this 4 years later. I don't think Biden really much cares anymore. Rather, Zuckerberg comes out and admits what he's admitting right now because he's already been president for 4 years. But what makes this even worse, and you know this, and I know that you believe this too. What makes this worse is not that he's admitting it now. But what makes it worse is that people were called conspiracy theorists, they were called kooks, and they were censored online as well due to them saying that this was not Russian disinformation. And are there going to be any punishments in the media for the people who did say it was Russian disinformation? Not only did they go along with the line Biden was pushing about it being disinformation. Not only did they go along with it, they blamed everybody who dared to say that it wasn't. What about all the people on MSNBC who, for many, many months, weeks and months, were mocking and attacking people who claimed that it was not Russian disinformation, that it was not phony, that it was not made up, that it was real? I want to read this to you again because it is really, really you know what? I'm not even gonna say it's shocking because it's not that shocking, actually. It's not shocking. It doesn't shock me. It shouldn't shock you. But the fact that it's out in the open now, I mean, that is maybe a little bit shocking. I'm gonna read it again. This is the last well, in the second I guess there's more. Yeah, the second to last paragraph. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation. And in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. We've changed our policies and processes to make sure this doesn't happen again. For instance, we no longer temporarily demote things in the US while waiting for fact checkers. They were not waiting for fact checkers. That is not at all what was going on here. They were not waiting for anybody. We know what was happening there. They were waiting for the election to be over. They weren't waiting for further information. They were waiting for the election to be over. They were waiting for a Biden victory. So now they're saying we're not going to wait now. If something comes out that CNN and legacy media are trying to cover up and call fake, we're not going to take it down. And we're not going to listen to them when they say whatever they want to say about it. So this confirms things that we already knew, first of all. And as I've just mentioned, I don't know, I really do not know the reason for it being a big deal now because I mean, we've gone a long time without it, without anyone saying anything else about it. We've gone a long time. I mean, there's really no reason for Facebook to come or for Zuckerberg to come out and talk about this now, but he is. There's one more paragraph. Let me see if I can share this one instead. Okay, there we go. Apart from content moderation, I want to address the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. The idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they needed to help people vote safely during a global pandemic. Really? I made these contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. I believe that's her wife, his wife, I mean, right? I believe. They were designed to be nonpartisan, spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analysis I've been showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other. Yeah, you don't say, Mark, or to even appear to be playing a role. So I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. Respectfully, Mark Zuckerberg, founder, chairman, CEO, Meta Platforms Inc. Okay, so we know now that I read that last paragraph, I now have a better idea why he's releasing this now. He is releasing this now because I am almost, almost sure that Zuckerberg, or excuse me, um, Biden and Obama and Kamala are pressuring Zuckerberg, saying, "Come on, are you going to do what you did last time? Are you going to help us out here? Are you going to tip the scale in our favor one more time because we really need you here?" And believe me, word has gone out to all the social media platforms, probably not to X because they know there's going to be nothing there for them. But they are definitely going to Meta and Facebook, which includes Instagram. They're going to TikTok. They're going to all of them. And you know why they're going to all of them? Because that is the way they are going to get the help that they need. There's only one way they're going to do it. And they have clearly, I would say, probably in the past week or thereabouts, at some point in the last little while, they have gone to Zuckerberg and they have said, "We need your help again." And I'm not going to use any specific terms about what they need help doing. It is clear that they want to influence this election just like they influenced the last election. And Mark Zuckerberg has not only told them no, but he has told them no very quite publicly here. He said, "No, that's not gonna happen." So this is very big news. Now, he may say this in public just to calm fears and then do it anyway. But something tells me no, because what was it, 3, 4 weeks ago, we were hearing, Zuckerberg complimenting President Trump after the attempt on his life. So so that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing the truth finally come out. The truth always comes out, but sometimes it comes out later on. The problem is the truth came out, but the truth came out 4 years later. Now, the benefit to it coming out now is that, yes, it's true. Um, at least this cycle, we won't have to worry about election interference like we saw before. But I mean, this is very, very big news, and it just shows you the corruption runs really, really, really deep. All right.